I really, really enjoyed 10 Things I Hate About You on this rewatch. I don't know if I'm getting soft in my old age. I don't know if I'm losing my edge. But man, these like 90s rom-coms and some of these 90s teen movies are just taking me
Best
back.
Man dethroned Magnolia last week.
Magnolia, I never would have
Magnolia's in the
dreamed.
trash can.
We've got to be honest, people. We've got to be honest.
Yeah, Best Man beat it.
10
And now
things-
this week, you're loving 10 Things.
I love 10 Things. It's just a perfectly calibrated, like, smart movie for teenagers. We talked about on Movies Baby this week how John Krasinski's If pretends to be for kids, and it's not even remotely for kids. Doesn't even remotely understand. 10 Things I Hate About You perfectly understands that age where, like, you do not want to be condescended to, you do not want stupid shit peddled at you, but you also, like, aren't old enough or have been around enough to like to grasp like really sort of like fucking high auteur shit or anything. So 10 Things I Hate About You positions itself perfectly where it's a smart movie for teenagers. It's a movie.
It's an elevated high school comedy.
It's an elevated high school comedy, and it just really nails that. It doesn't try to like go beyond that or do wink wink stuff. It really sticks to that level and is maybe the best at that I've ever seen of like an elevated teenage high school movie. Just an incredible ensemble cast. We mentioned several people. I also want to shout out Allison Janney, maybe the funniest character in the movie. She is the guidance counselor who is writing a romance novel all the time in the guidance office. And at first it's presented as something that she's like hiding, but then I love how it turns out that everybody knows she's writing a romance novel. She's not shy about it at all, as it turns out. And everybody will like pitch her ideas for her romance novel of like what synonym to use for like the man's like Fabio's like pulsating member and stuff. It's very funny. It's like, and it's also does like the perfectly pitched like dirty humor for kids, where it's not like so dirty that you feel like you feel sort of creepy or cringy, but like dirty enough where like teenagers can get like a nice little chuckle out of like a couple dirty jokes that are like age appropriate, like dirty jokes are done well in this movie. I thought Julia Stiles was great. I thought Heath Ledger was freaking electric. I thought Andrew Keegan was so funny. There's one scene where Andrew Keegan is just like, he's the male model, the dummy, and there's a scene where he's like just drawing like huge tits on a cafeteria tray. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's funny.
And he goes, "Oh yeah." It's just like it's just a way to get into a scene, but it's just perfectly sums up who that guy is. There's also the scene that you probably remember if you've seen the movie where he has like two headshots and he looks exactly the same, and he's like, "Which one do you like?" A lot of great lines. The dialogue is fantastic. There's one point where Heath Ledger is catching on that everyone's attracted to the younger sister, even though he's more attracted to Julia Stiles. And he goes, "What is it with this chick? Does she have beer flavored nipples or something?" It's just good, like kind of naughty, dirty, like
just cracked you up.
I thought it was funny.
No,
I thought I liked it.
It was funny.
It's like, and everyone's selling all these lines.
They are selling.
You get some great, again, like post-grunge Seattle bands in this. Save Ferris, if you remember that band, Save Ferris is in this. This is a very specific, yeah. They do the thing where they're like playing at like school events and stuff. Save Ferris and who's the other? Oh, Letters to Cleo is in this.
Yes.
And there's a scene where they go to Heath Ledger has to go to Club Skunk, which is like the Riot Girl club, sort of. And
we gotta go to Club Skunk.
Yeah,
no way.
And he's like, and he goes, "I can't be seen at Club Skunk.
Yeah, I can't be seen at Club
Skunk." But then he shows up at Club Skunk with leather pants, and he walks in so confidently. Heath Ledger was just pure charisma.
And Club Skunk looks incredible. Club Skunk looks amazing.
And then my favorite part about it, Heath Ledger's a high school student. He ends up knowing the bartender at Club Skunk. Remember?
Yeah. Well, he is the man.
He's the man.
This guy, Heath Ledger, is the man.
He runs Seattle.
He is so good looking in this movie.
Yes.
He is so handsome, and here's my review.
Yes.
He is so handsome, and his features are so like sharply defined. The only person that would have like competed with, if Heath, God rest his soul, had lived, do you know who he kind of made me think of in this movie a little bit? He made me think of Adam Driver. I think he's more charismatic and lovable in this than Adam Driver.
He's more relatable than Weird Adam Driver.
And Driver plays the weird boyfriend in Girls, and Ledger plays this like totally lovely, charming guy in 10 Things. But he has like a maturity to his face where he looks like older and strong. He's like chiseled, and his acting is like totally confident. And Heath Ledger can run the gamut from 10 Things, of course, all the way to the Joker. And I just was thinking like, man, him and Adam Driver would have been competing for a lot of these, like Michael Mann wants them to play Ferrari, or Coppola wants them in Megalopolis. Like Heath would have been doing that stuff, man. He would have been the other really good actor around that age. It's a shame because he really can do it all, and in this movie he was very fun to watch.
It is you feel in movies like this, you feel the weight of that tragedy of just all that he had left to do.
I know. I know.
He's such a talent. He's so on fire from the first moment.
He looks great, even with that ridiculous hair. He still looks amazing, which is funny and cool.
And every time he smiles, the screen just like explodes.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
Insane.
Yeah, it's great.
I think there are a lot of funny lines in this. There's so much good work around like the different. Because it does all the cliques at the school, but they're not like they're such specific cliques.
Yeah.
So there's like the future MBAs led by Bogey Lowenstein, and then Krumholtz was like kicked out of their clique, and then he gets his revenge because he has everyone go to Bogey Lowenstein's for like a kegger, and they ruin his like dumb nice house. And then but right before all these like partiers show up, Bogey Lowenstein's there with a couple friends having a nice little soiree, and he hears the doorbell ringing. And he goes, "That must be Nigel with the brie." These are great. These are funny lines. Yeah. And they're again perfect because these are the kind of lines that like make you feel smart as a kid if you get them. But they're not like pretend. But if you're starting to like lock into like it's a movie where a kid can watch it and enjoy being a kid, but also sort of feel those aspirations to adulthood and to like, it's just, it hits that like that perfect, it just gets the mind of like, of teenagers, I think, really well. There's another line where Krumholtz, who I know you don't like in this movie, Krumholtz says, "I'm thinking of getting a Tercel." This is his pickup line to a girl at a party, which I thought was funny.
It was funny.
I'm gonna crack you on this one. This one is great. When Joseph Gordon-Levitt sees his crush and he goes, "You look amazing," and then Andrew Keegan comes down the stairs and he goes, "And we all know I look amazing. Come on, we're congregating around Mr. Cuervo." It's such a crazy. It's like a way no one has ever spoken, but like resembles the rhythms of like a dumb high schooler, like calling tequila Mr. Cuervo. Oh my god. There's a girl in the movie who's like obsessed with Shakespeare, and again, it's these really funny like niche identities that are, you get them, but they're not what you normally see in a high school movie. The white Rastafarians is very funny. That's a joke that you've seen 100 times, but at this point, I don't remember having seen it like a bunch. So like the white Rastafarians, there's like coffee snobs, which is perfect for
like
Seattle.
That
was
me. That was me.
That was you. You were a coffee
I wanted
snob.
To be a coffee snob.
Then there's like a girl who's obsessed with Shakespeare, and I thought she had a very funny line where he's like, Krumholtz is trying to hit on her. He's like, "So I know you're a fan of Shakespeare," and she goes, "I'm more than a fan. We're involved." It's just a very funny thing to say. I feel like such a square enjoying 10 Things I Hate About You.
You're not a square. You just really like it. And now you're quoting all the lines. You're not quoting all the lines.
It's just, look, I approach movies for what they are trying to do. And not everything has to be... I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't.
Listen to this. I haven't even told you what I think of the movie.
I'm not saying you don't. I can just feel that you just are just like, I can hear the LCD Sound System song "Losing My Edge" like in the background of all of this.
No.
But here's what I'm here. I like you approach movies on what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You judge them by their own merits. This movie nails what it's trying to do.
Sure,
nails.
Absolutely.
And I'm not tipping my hand yet. I honestly don't know. We have to talk about virgin suicides. I don't know where I'm going this week. I will say, out of the 3 movies, this movie nails its intended goal the best of all 3. So now, and you might argue that it has sort of smaller aspirations, and so then you have to take that into consideration. But 10 Things I Hate About You out of these 3 nails its intended target. It is a fucking bullseye on what it's trying to do. And I love that, and I really liked this movie. Very much enjoyed watching it.
You know the part where Heath Ledger at the end is doing "You're Just Too Good to Be True," and he's singing it performatively in the bleachers.
And he slaps that security guard on the butt.
And Julia Stiles is looking up at him and being like, "What is this? I guess I have to love this guy." Like, charming moment. And then my wife turns to me and goes, "I just want you to know that when I was a kid seeing this for the first time, I thought this was, for years, the single most romantic gesture I've ever seen in my entire life."
That's a widely held opinion.
And I was
a widely
like,
held opinion from our generation.
Honey, I get that. So, yeah, it was good. And it was like, I'm the grump on this one. Like, everybody loves this movie. I like the movie. I'm the grump. arrest me.
You know what the Heath Ledger song moment is? He sings. If you've seen 10 Things I Hate About You, but he's trying to win Julia. He's trying to prove that he actually loves Julia Stiles.
He kills in that scene.
He crushes. So he sings this Frankie Valli song while he's coming down the stairs of the bleachers, and she's at soccer practice. And he does a big dance on the bleachers. He's so charming and charismatic.
Yeah.
It is the moment, the famous moment from Say Anything when John Cusack holds up the boombox. It's that moment for the 90s in the sense that like only specific people can pull it off, and if anybody else tried, it would feel sort of creepy and intrusive.
It would be crazy.
But like Heath Ledger is so charismatic, he pulls it off 100%. Here is last thing I'll say. Here is what melts my heart about 10 Things I Hate About You and similar movies is that the realization. There's a scene at the end where Julia Stiles gets up to read like a poem that she's written in class, I think in the style of a Shakespearean sonnet. And for a second I was like, I thought this character was supposed to be smart. This poem is terrible. But she keeps going with it, and it is like a sweet declaration of sort of as much as she wants to be the cool girl and she wants to like, carve her own path, she's just hopelessly attracted to Heath Ledger because they have an incredible dynamic and they understand each other. They're both loners at this high school and they understand each other. And it becomes this really sweet poem about how she is just hopelessly attracted to Heath Ledger. The heart says yes, however it goes. And then they cut to Heath Ledger, and for the first time in the movie, he's been cool guy the whole movie. He's like about to cry in his seat in the classroom. He's like quivering with emotion, and it just made me realize that what's great about these movies is that high schoolers like take relationships. You take relationships more seriously for their own sake than you will ever do in the rest of your life. Like in the sense that like, and I mean,
I know what you
there
mean.
is every period of your life, your approach to relationships and romantic relationships evolves in ways that become beautiful in their own way. But as you grow up, you take on the baggage of your life, and relationships become as much about this sort of life partnership as it is about the romance of it all. It just becomes more involved and takes on these other characteristics. But when you're in high school, it gets to be just about like pure romance. You don't have to like, and of course there's like social pressure and this and that, but it's not like you have to worry about sharing the budget, or like you have to worry about who's picking up the kid or that and that. And look, that is beautiful in its own way. But you just get to watch these kids who only have to be concerned with like the romance of it, and it's just such an idealistic period of your life where you just care about relationships for relationships' sake, minus any of the sort of realities of life that will begin to accrue. And this movie just like nails that. These kids are just like, all they care about is like is the relationship itself. It's just, I don't know. It's very sweet. It made me very nostalgic. I liked it a lot. And I am not crying behind these glasses. But I was when I watched 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay.